Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hit the Bids Week 24 Market Watch here on June 15th. Tonight we're going to be reviewing last week's action, see what played out, and how it's going to help us navigate these markets in the new week. Also, looking out for any notable events and potential opportunities that we could see in Week 24. So, that being said, let's jump right in here, starting off with our cattle market. Last week we did see new all-time highs in the cattle market, both feeders and fats putting in new all-time highs early in the week. We did see price up there at overbought territory, overextended territory, getting a little bit stagnant early in the week before finally getting that pullback underway on Friday. If we take a little bit closer look here on our August live cattle, we can see that 220.05 being that all-time high printed early Monday morning. Over the next 3 days, we did carve out a solid range here between 216 and 219. Price getting a little bit heavy here on Thursday with a weak close before we came into Friday's pullback sell-off day. Coming into the week, this 216 level was our bear pivot dating back to last Friday's low. We did see the bulls defend this line pretty strongly on Tuesday and Wednesday, but price just got a little bit heavy and bulls were just running out of gas. So coming into Friday's action, we saw this 216 level that had been tested multiple times over the last 4 or 5 days. Anytime you see a level like that, offers below it could really get that thing to flush, which is exactly what we saw. As we were warning of a pullback up here, we did expect to see a pullback down to this gap from the 4th and 5th of June. This gap and go on the way up to new all-time highs. In the event of a pullback, we do expect to see those gaps being magnets of price here, pulling price right back down to it, all in one day here, closing that gap early in the day, a little bit of a bounce off of it before getting that close down there at 212 and a quarter on this August live contract. That week close on Friday below the 20-day moving average isn't our favorite look to start the week. We do have a big picture uptrend still intact, so we do expect to see dips be bought up here. We do expect to see buying activity come in and support this market at some point this week. But just given that sell-off, that momentum from Friday should carry over into the early action on Monday. So just be aware of a little bit of potential downside here. However, we did see this most recent pullback on the 15th of May. You see a similar action with a nice strong selling day with that close below the 20. We did anticipate a little bit more of a follow-through selling there, but we did see price just open up the next day and find support right at this 20-day moving average before grinding higher over the next couple of weeks and pushing up to those new all-time highs. We could see a similar situation, but after this recent run we've had over the last 6 weeks, I would expect to see a little bit steeper pullback here. This market still remains very strong, but a little bit deeper pullback towards this 50-day moving average could offer a little bit better value areas and get those bulls to really step in and defend a nice hard line here at that 50-day moving average. In front of that, though, we do have this 211 mark, which we've been keeping our eye on even back into last week. 211 being our point of control from week 22. This is a spot that we've had a lot of participation in this market down here. So look for the volume to really pick up and good transactions coming in down here. So we should see good back and forth. We'd look to see the bulls support this market down there at 211. We do have kind of a sloppy, loose range here over those 2 weeks while the price just kind of grinded above that 20-day moving average where we could see support all the way down through there to this 50-day moving average. Lots of potential room for support, but it is a pretty wide range here to start off the week, so I do encourage people to sit back and wait for price to balance out, find a good level of support before committing to any new positions. It's not necessarily the best idea to be jumping right in front of this thing in the midst of the sell-off. We want to see price balance out and see good signs of support and see it jump on board on the way back out as it's heading back towards those all-time highs. We do expect to see this dip get bought up. Look for support to come in at some point this week. We'll be keeping an eye on that in the closing comments, looking for potential areas for buyers to get involved. But big picture uptrend, just a pullback here, very natural, healthy movements here in this uptrend. Good ebb and flow here so far. Be looking for the buyers to support this market in the week ahead and be looking back towards all-time highs. Over to the feeders now. We did have a little bit of divergence between the fats and feeders last week, with Monday and Tuesday pushing higher for the feeders, while the August fats saw that all-time high on Monday. The all-time high printing up here at 314.20 on this August feeder contract. Price did balance out over the next couple days, just getting a little bit heavy here as we saw some of these daily lows or daily highs getting lower. Similar action here with the 309 supporting price all week long. Did see price break down early off that opening range on Friday, all the way down to 306, rally back, and we did see that prior support becoming resistance here as we tested 309 from below and seeing price selling back down, closing near the low of the week. 306 being our bear pivot as we head into week 24. We do expect to see a little bit of follow through selling here early in the week, but be looking for some pockets of buyer support to step in early in the week. Price could get all the way down to 298 here at this 50-day moving average, and we still expect to see support all the way down to here. Just be cautious jumping in front of this thing, just like those fats. We just want to make sure we see support step in and price balancing out, and find a good support level to trade off of before committing to any new positions. But this uptrend remains intact. We're just a very natural, healthy pullback here. Looking for support to step in this week and turn this market back around and head back towards those all-time highs. So cattle market remains strong and healthy, just in the midst of a pullback here at the moment. Be looking for buying opportunities in the week ahead. Now over to the corn market. Nice choppy week last week in the corn market as price just continues to hang around this 440 level. Nice sloppy action all week long. Our bear pivot and bull pivot both seeing some traps laid all week long. Nice early breakdown, making us think we had that follow through selling down below 434 here. However, price just bounced right back up in between these pivot points and continues to carve out a nice 10-12 cent range here like it has over the last 12 weeks. We are seeing this declining 20-day moving average pushing down into price here at the moment, here at 445. If we get bids early this week above 445, we could see a pullback up into the 450s. We do expect to see this selling pressure step back in as this big picture downtrend remains intact. We should see resistance up in the 450s if we even get up there. If not, in the meantime, expect continued chop here and potential traps. We need to get a good solid close above this level or below this level to confirm any new direction or continued direction. But in the meantime, expect to see just continued chop here as this corn market is getting pretty stagnant here down around this 440 level. We're also going to keep our eye on this December contract as well, as we will be rolling into it by the end of the month. So far, we've seen a nice range here between 435 and 455 getting carved out over the last few months, excluding this brief breakout there in the middle of April. Prices just stayed steady here. We are seeing resistance repeatedly up here in the 450s, so expect to see that continue in the event of a pullback here on this July contract. If we pull back up into the 450s, look for a similar path to be followed here on this December contract, showing resistance up there at the top end of the range. But we do have a bearish bias and a bearish lean on this market, but just continue to expect low volatility and continued chop here in this corn market. Now over to a market with a little more volatility. We see crude oil here tonight, still trading in some wide ranges. Last week we did get a pretty gnarly breakout following the news of the Iran-Israel situation. However, coming into the week, we were already positioned to be long with that bullish bias and that prior close above 64, confirming the potential short squeeze here and new leg higher. Price did push higher throughout the first couple days of the week before that Thursday evening news came in, really getting the ball rolling higher on this crude market, pushing up over 10% that evening. That high coming in here just shy of 78 before settling back on Friday and kind of balancing out here. Here on our lower time frame, we can see, if I can get there, Friday's action following the evening session breakout, following the Iran news, Israel news. We did see the day session just kind of balancing out here at about a $3 range. Wide ranges nonetheless, but just contracting here. Sunday night open so far, we did get that open higher up there near 76.5. Price pulling back down into this range. If we do see any more upside, we will need to see continued escalation in that situation over there. But if all else remains the same, would expect to see some downside come from here as we have pushed up into overbought territory. We also have our long-term downtrend line coming in here. We did briefly probe it, but it's a little loose given the volatility of the situation. But we are seeing some resistance up here, and the initial shock reaction of these sort of events usually puts in the high of the move, and we did see a nice, wild, volatile high on Friday. Pushing up there, we could see price continuing to balance out here, but I expect to see the worst of it unless there's any sort of new developments or escalations in that situation over there in Iran and Israel. Don't expect any higher prices to come from this. Just expect to see continued wide, loose ranges here and volatility, and we should see some selling pressure come in here as it looks like this could be a kind of climax top here at the moment. Be looking for any offers below 71.50 to get this market pushing back down towards the 60s. At the moment, though, we do just have a pretty sloppy chart here, given the situation and everything, how it unfolded last week. I expect to see continued wide ranges and volatility here while that situation sorts itself out. If you're not already long from some of these lower levels, it's kind of a dangerous place to do it given the wide ranges and volatility now. It'd be best to let this market kind of settle up and find a better risk point to trade off of. So just want to be cautious in this crude market given the global events at the moment. So now over to the equity markets. Our indexes make a nice steady rally early in the week before Friday saw that sell-off. Most of that sell-off did come in the overnight session on Thursday. We can see here the initial shock reaction pushing prices down about 1.5%, a little over 1.5%, while the Friday day session did trade here between 59.90 and 60.50. So far here we are seeing just good support here overnight over the weekend session here, showing good support following that event, good support at the 20-day moving average Thursday night here on the S&P futures. This market remains strong, lots of healthy components beneath the surface acting right, and continuing to see good accumulation across the board. Look for this uptrend to continue as we head into the new week. Each of our indexes trying to push back up towards those all-time highs. The Dow off the most. We did see a little bit of a battle up here right around 43,000, which was our breakout point. Thought we were going to get a little bit of that breakout last week, but that Friday breakdown threw a wrench into those plans. Good support here at our 20 and 50-day moving average. Expect to see continued pressure building up towards this 43,000 mark. If the Dow can get that break and close above there, we really should see some of those Dow stocks continue to spill over into the S&P and continue to keep this market rolling higher. We are just about a stone's throw away from new all-time highs here in the Nasdaq and the S&P, so we could see that coming as early this week. But if not, we should see them sooner than later as this market remains strong. That's all we got for charts tonight. Notable events to keep our eye on in the week ahead. We do have some economic data sprinkled in throughout the week with retail sales and jobless claims. The big one this week is Wednesday's FOMC meeting. Interest rate decision and a FOMC statement coming in on Wednesday around noon Mountain Time. Be looking to see what Jerome has to say about the current situation of the current state of the market, and that's going to be one to keep our eye on as we head into the new week. We do have the holiday on Thursday, so no trading on Thursday. Going to be a short, abbreviated week, but nonetheless, still have some good opportunities waiting for us. So that's all we got for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Everyone have a good week.